love. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good. We are back for another episode. I'm looking forward to this chat, actually. You had another wedding this weekend.
I did, yes.
How did that one go?
It went well. The couple, they actually were scheduled to get married 2020, and then all things COVID happened, so they had to reschedule.
For 2 years?
Well, because they ended up relocating to Nigeria.
Wow,
and
okay.
because of his job, he works for Shell.
Okay.
So they relocated to Nigeria. But I think they still got married, like something very low-key.
Yeah.
And then, they had the wedding 2 years later. So by this time, like, they had a 6-month-old baby and...
Okay, right. Oh, so they just wanted, like, the white wedding?
Yeah, but they'd already actually married.
Okay.
So it was nice. So they flew back from Nigeria for the wedding.
Wow. Okay. I would have probably just had the wedding in Nigeria. I'm sure they have, like, really amazing venues and...
Yeah, I mean, they're just on another level in Nigeria. But I think because they'd already paid for everything. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, today I wanted to talk a little bit about Will Smith and a little bit about Brian Houston.
Who's he?
Brian Houston is the guy that started the Hillsong Church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like the guy. Him and his wife started the whole Hillsong movement. And so what's interesting about it is prior to COVID, they had 30 churches worldwide, I think, something like that.
30?
Was it 300? Hold on.
That can't be right, 30. It must be more than that.
Okay, they had a number of churches. Maybe I've got my information wrong, but what I did find out is they had 150,000 people attending their services weekly.
Oh,
worldwide.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so that's quite a lot. Sorry, it's 3,000 churches.
Right.
I said 30. 3,000 churches, 150,000 attendees a week. COVID hits, so they started monitoring their online presence, and 444,000 people weekly tuned into their services.
Oh, wow.
So they have a college, they have women's conferences, they have a uni, they have the music, over 30 plus albums underneath their belt. Most churches sing songs that have been written and performed by people from the Hillsong Church.
Yeah.
They have, some people I've heard even say that they are a name brand. They're a business. Brian Houston was friends or is friends with the Prime Minister of Australia. I mean, like, this guy's a huge, I mean, what he achieved is massive.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is really what got me thinking. So, should he retire or should he pass away? They should be speaking about his achievements. Like, look at what this guy has done. Amazing. The lives impacted. But he's had a couple of scandals recently. And it's all over the news. Hillsong is being dragged at the moment, and he had to step down. I think the board of elders accepted his resignation. But one incident happened a couple of years ago when he sent an inappropriate text message to a co-worker.
Okay.
She received it and then she quit. I think it was something in the lines of, if I was with you, I would hug you and kiss you, or something like that. And then the other incident happened not too long ago. I'm not sure what year it was, but he was at a conference. He booked a hotel, and he took some sleeping pills or some painkillers along with alcohol.
Oh, okay.
And then he went to a co-worker's room, knocked on the door, and she opened the door and let him in. And he was in there for like 40 minutes. Apparently nothing happened, but it was deemed as inappropriate behavior by the board, and so they just they asked him to step down, and I think they even made his wife redundant not long after that. So I mean, like, it has major repercussions. And if you see how non-Christian headlines are reporting it, they're not saying like the details, they're saying like sex scandal and stuff like that. So It seems a lot worse. But that being said, I don't know all the details, but despite what the details may be, the fact is that he had areas in which he didn't have boundaries. He did not have. Okay, so a lot of the influencers that people follow and a lot of people that we like watching and listening to are known by what they do. right?
Yeah.
So if you follow someone on social media, you follow them because of what they do, what they have achieved. It's inspirational. We look at that and say, wow, that's amazing. But we don't follow people because of what they don't do. But sometimes what people don't do is what defines them. If Brian Houston had a standard, I do not text members of the opposite sex that are not in my family anything but business related stuff, that scandal would have never happened.
Sure.
If he had a standard, say, I do not spend time alone with members of the opposite sex, that scandal wouldn't have happened. He would have been he would have been still known as as this giant in the Christian faith. Love him or hate him, that would have just been his reality. But I think this is a good point to just really say every marriage and every family needs a list of, this is what we don't do. We always put out a list of the things that we do achieve. I was going to say do, but I don't. It just sounds weird. Of the things that we do, but we seldom hear people talking about things that they don't do. Here's a list of things as a family we absolutely do not do. What do you think?
Yeah, it just makes me think about Billy Graham, actually, because he was known to have the personal standard that he was never alone with a woman, and he actually, even the saying goes that, well, I say the saying goes, but it's alleged, and I say it's alleged because I haven't fact checked this, but I'm pretty sure it's true, that even when he met the Queen, because the Queen requested his audience, he was like, I can't meet you alone because this is my personal standard.
Wow.
And so she had to kind of make arrangements so that there was at least someone else present. And I just thought, wow, so, and even till today, like, he's since passed away, but there's never been a scandal attached to him. And from what I heard as well with him, like, they used to try and frame him. So they would, like, plant women in his hotel rooms.
Yeah, I've heard about that as well.
And that type of thing. And he would just run out, because they were hoping that they could plant a woman in his room and then the media could just bust open and, like, capture him, but he would just run out and that sort of thing because his personal standards were so strong. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, like, it's kind of a shame that a lot of these celebrity pastors, there's just more and more scandals coming out. And when you really analyze it, it's despite everything that they've achieved, sometimes it just boils down to not having a I don't do this list in their psyche. So I think it's just really such a shame with what you're saying, that what's now remembered, what's talked about are these scandals. It's like Ravi Zacharias, the great apologetic. His ministry transformed so many lives, and we both learned so much about him or through his ministry. Now today, who's to know, like, the actualities of what happened, but what's talked about the most is the scandal that's associated with him, and it's like it's completely overridden all of the good things that he did. So it's so important to have that, to protect your reputation. Reputation is very...
Achievements don't make headlines as much as scandals do. And it's a shame because you put in 30 plus years building something only for the only thing for people to talk about is the scandal. Blood, sweat and tears that went into that. Even the board, if you go to the Hillsong website where they made the official statement, they acknowledge his hard work and dedication. But that's not what people are talking about. That's not what makes headlines.
I didn't even know who he was.
Now you know who he was, but it's only because of the scandal.
Exactly.
Wow, very true. So the statement then goes, a man who does everything is not a man. A woman who does everything is not a woman. A man is a man because he has boundaries, and a woman is a woman because she has boundaries. So the man that says, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. Why don't we do this? Yeah, sure, whatever. Hey, let's smoke this. Yeah, sure, whatever. I'm down for anything. I'll do anything. I'll go anywhere. something's not right there. But if you have some absolutes in you, like, no, I don't do this, not only does it bring about a level of respect, but you actually protect yourself from a whole heap of stuff. One of the girls from youth told me, or she didn't tell me, who told me about it? Anyway, that she was enticed by her friends to bring alcohol, to sneak some alcohol in the school. It was a parent that told me. She was enticed by her friends, let's sneak some alcohol into the school. And she was like, nope, I don't do that. I'm not going to do it. And as a result, her friends did it anyway. They got caught and they're in serious trouble. But she's not. The only difference between her and her friends is she had some I don't do this in her. This is not something I do. But what's interesting is she was very strong in that area, but she's not so strong in other areas, which is quite fascinating. So there are some I don't do's that are quite obvious for most people, most couples, most children, most teenagers. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't join gangs. I don't bully people. Those are quite obvious. But the ones that are not so obvious are things like I don't send pictures of myself to boys, to girls. I don't put myself out there on Snapchat or TikTok doing some madness. Those are not quite so obvious. Why do you think that is?
I think maybe it's a bit like when you think of, as a Christian, you think of the big sins, the fornication, the murder, those sorts of. It's always like, oh yeah, no, I don't do that, so I'm all right. But it's like, okay, but what about gossip? What about jealousy? What about unforgiveness? I think the more subtle issues of the heart, perhaps, that are a lot that can kind of creep in incrementally. I think perhaps they can be a lot less easy to judge, like in your own life, and therefore I identify or to
100%.
as a result establish standards around.
Yeah. And I think when when some things are culturally accepted, it's a lot harder to see them for what they are.
That's very true.
Yeah, it's like you can't see. What's the saying? The wood from the trees, or wood from the forest, whatever. So things like I don't send pictures of myself. I don't go clubbing. I don't gossip. I don't call members of the opposite sex after 8 p.m. More that's more so maybe for younger people, for teenagers going to school and things like that. Yeah, I don't tell half truths. I'm very open. I'm very honest. And the list can go on and on and on. But it's interesting. Think about Will Smith for example. I know I've been a bit obsessed about this whole thing, but had he had imagine if one of his standards is I will never lay my hands on someone. If that was just his ingrained, I don't do this, that was in him, he would have handled that situation so differently. He would have maybe just left. He would have maybe said something from his seat. Chris, just to let you know, my wife has alopecia and this is a very sensitive topic. Or rather than make the whole situation awkward, spoke to him afterwards and then release a statement. Or, because he's so good with social media, he could have done a whole episode. And do you know how many hits that would have had of him saying, I confronted Chris about his joke? And then it's them two sitting on a red table, or he goes and visit him in a studio somewhere, or backstage after Chris Rock's performance. Hey man, that was a great show. And they just have this conversation. He puts it on his YouTube. Everyone loves Will Smith. Everyone loves Chris Rock. It's all, but he's dealt with in a mature manner. And but he didn't have that standard. Either he snapped and even I believe that if it's ingrained in you, even when you snap, it should still, your standards should still hold you back. It should be enough to say, you know what, I'm vexed right now, but I don't smack women. Have you ever seen that video, love, of that little kid that was being bullied by two girls in Scotland, and he kept saying, I don't hit girls. No. So he would not fight back, and they were terrorizing him. I mean, he's bigger.
What, as in like physically?
Yeah, they was punching him in the face, dragging him around, like really messing him up. and trying to goad him to react, and I give him so much ratings because that kid did absolutely nothing, and all he kept saying over and over and over again is, "I don't hit lasses, I don't hit lasses," and for me, that's I don't know who his parents are. I don't know if his dad is around, but that for me was like, wow, here's a young boy that's going to go far.
About how old was he?
12.
Okay.
Young kids, and it's you should look it up. It's quite interesting. So my question then is, for you is what I don't do's should you find in, first of all, marriages, and then in parenting.
Good questions. I think for our marriage, I don't know, it's interesting because there are certain things I think for me has been a given, but maybe we should discuss, like, this is what we don't do. Like, we don't have the inability to not access each other's phones.
Okay, yeah.
For example.
Okay, so I would put it this way. I don't keep my gadgets and phones from my wife. She has access to everything.
Yeah.
All my
Social
passwords, all my social media
everything.
accounts. Yeah, I don't keep them. Okay, yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah. I think also for some reason this is a bit touchy for some, but I don't hide money.
Yeah, okay. If I ask you how much you've got, you tend to smile because you think I'm going to spend it.
No, okay.
But I get what you mean.
I mean, I do hide money from you.
Okay, there you go.
But all of our accounts are joint.
Yeah.
Because my mindset is, if anything should happen, you should be able to access the money, and vice versa. All
right. So the second one would be I don't have secret accounts of money. If I had access, I'd spend it.
Yeah.
So you're like, we've got it.
You don't know where it is,
but we've got it. Yeah. So, but the general idea is this: like, if I pass away, you're not going to find like a secret stash of grands or hundreds or whatever that you never knew about. We're very transparent about the money that we have.
No, well, that could happen, but in terms of as in, if anything happens, you would never be unable to access the money.
Okay, so do you think that it's okay to have secret accounts that your spouse does not know about?
I think women always have secret accounts. No, not secret accounts, secret money. The accounts aren't secret because they're joint. Like, all of our accounts are joint.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having an account that your partner, your spouse, does not know about at all. Their name is not on there.
Yeah, no, that's not cool. And I don't believe that's cool, personally. Right. I think your spouse should be able to access the money,
but you should have some of it as a secret.
I don't deliberately have some of it as a secret. I just don't necessarily disclose to you.
Okay.
the balance on all of the accounts.
What's number 3? What else would you put on there for you? Wow.
But it's for the better good, though, darling.
Yeah, amen.
What else would I say is I don't do? I don't like swear or use like derogatory language. I think that should be an I don't in a marriage. I
would throw in there, I don't spend copious time alone with a member of the opposite sex.
Yes.
And
that's on the phone as well as.
Yep. I don't keep my phone record a secret from you.
Yeah.
You should know who I spoke to, when I spoke to them, how long I spoke to them, and why I spoke to them.
Yeah.
So as a pastor, sometimes it's a bit difficult because people divulge certain things and they don't want your wife to know. Or it's not right that you should carry that kind of burden, when you see them next. And in counseling, you try and make sure that you counsel members of the opposite sex in front of other people. If it's really private, then, and you need to go somewhere secluded, then just, take a corner somewhere. Or bring a church council member in there. And it's like Billy Graham saying to the Queen, I won't see you alone. It's not like he expected something might happen. But once you have a principle, you need to carry that thing through despite the situation. So it may come across as ridiculous to some, but that's why he has no scandal.
It's true.
And then...
and that's and when you say it may come across as ridiculous, it can also come across as extreme to certain people. You work out your conviction. This is what we are standing for as a family. So, and this is because we are also very mindful of the example that we're setting our children and what we want to be able to say to them in the future. Like, listen, we've never compromised with this because of, and this is a standard that we've set. This is something we do not do. And this is why.
Yeah.
You know, you have to look at, you know, generational patterns and so on. And this is something that we're trying to protect you from. Now, it can come across as very extreme.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, here's the thing. We've never sat down and made a list. And I think it's a good idea to do that. But the idea is we do have some. We do not have a television. We have not had a television set in our home for 16 years. Coming up to 17. And that's how long we've been married for. It's a decision that we made independently of any outside influence, that this is not what we're going to do. And I think, I know that's blessed us a lot. Our children love reading, love going outside to play. It's a great blessing. And, you know, and again, that may come across as very extreme to some people, but that's who we are. So every couple needs to have a list. They need to sit down eyeball to eyeball. Okay, babes, this is some of my things that I don't do.
Are non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. Yeah. And in parenting, and this can go on for a long time, but I believe that one of them is you don't discipline out of anger. Yes. We don't do that.
Yeah,
doesn't matter how bad the behavior is, you never discipline out of anger. You have to think things through, weigh things out, and wait sometimes before you say or do anything.
That's a good one.
Yeah. We don't allow the children to run the household. They are not in charge. They're not our friends. Right? Yeah. They're not going to dictate the day. They are told what to do, and they will do that. And they will have their independence when they leave the house. And children thrive on routine and discipline. They really do. But if this is if they're determining, oh, I'm not going to eat that today, because I don't like it, and you're going to have to cook me something else. And you're like, okay, boss, I'll do that. Then you're already giving ground up that's going to hurt you down the line. So one of the things we're not going to do is we're not going to allow the children to run the household. Can you think of any more?
I think we've kind of discussed this quite a few times, that we don't talk about other people in front of our children. We don't want to set a precedent there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also...
Your one of your ones is we don't do sleepovers.
Woo!
You don't want to talk about it, do you?
I mean, no, we don't.
Yeah. Is that it?
That's
Full
it.
stop.
Full stop. End of story.
Because
there's not even a because. Like, it's not even like... And this is why I was like, woo, because I can't even necessarily explain it. But it's just something I don't do.
Okay.
My mum didn't do it. I don't do it. And I'm not apologizing for it neither.
Okay. If you want to know the details, make sure you hit Effie up on the Instagram.
Do you know what? Everyone who comes from a West African household on this
I don't know if that's
podcast
true.
Is going to understand.
I don't know if that's true. If you agree with Effie, let me know in the comment section below. I don't see anything wrong. They have had a sleepover, but that's only with family members, like with their cousins.
Yes.
Literally my mum's house. That's as far as you would go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I think they've slept over at your sister's as well. Yeah, they have.
Yeah. So like kin.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we get the general gist. A lot of good things that people have built up, like families, marriages, can be destroyed because of not having standards. Working things out as you go along, not knowing where the boundaries are, and I think every teenager, every parent, every married couple it'd be a good idea just to sit down and have a list. Okay, as a family, as a couple, as a teenager, these are my absolute non-negotiables. I don't do this. And you will end up standing out. You would be a phenomenal person, especially, you know, like this whole thing I delivered to the youth. I said, you guys, you have no idea. Just the ability to say no. I am not going to do that. I don't go there. I'm not going to compromise. It will set you apart and set you up for life, because you're basing your life on something solid and immovable. And I think I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, everyone who's listening, to share a few tidbits, but appreciate your time and appreciate you listening to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, until the next one. Do you want to say anything to the lovely people?
No, not really.
Okay, all right. Well, Team Bayayi out. Oh, by the way, keep my wife's name.
Oh my gosh.
Out your mouth.
Honey.
That's my outro.
That was so.
Entanglement.